There's something happening that most men completely miss, and it's costing them opportunities they don't even know they had. You meet a woman, maybe at work, maybe through friends, maybe she's been in your circle for a while, and there's something different about her. She's guarded, but not cold, present, but not fully open. She engages, but there's a distance you can't quite name. And here's what you don't realize. She's sending signals. Subtle ones. Signals that say she hasn't been intimate with anyone in a long time. And those signals? They're not what you think. Most men assume a woman who hasn't been intimate will be desperate, eager, easy to read. But that's not how it works. Not even close. The truth is, when a woman has gone without intimacy for an extended period, her psychology shifts. Her behavior changes in ways that are calculated, protective, and incredibly strategic. And if you don't understand what you're looking at, you'll misread her completely. Machiavelli studied human behavior under conditions of scarcity and abundance. He understood that when people lack something they deeply need, whether it's power, security, or connection, they don't become weaker. They become more discerning, more cautious, more deliberate about who they let in. So today, I'm breaking down the psychology of a woman who hasn't been intimate in a long time, what she does, why she does it, and what it actually means if you know how to read it. This isn't manipulation. This is understanding. Before we get into the specific behaviors, you need to understand the psychology underneath all of this. When a woman hasn't been intimate for a long time, and I'm talking months, sometimes years, something fundamental shifts. It's not just physical, it's psychological, emotional, strategic. Thomas Hobbes argued that humans are driven by desire and aversion. We move toward what we need and away from what threatens us. And when a woman has been without intimacy for an extended period, those two forces are in direct conflict. She wants connection, but she's also deeply aware of the risks that come with it. Max Weber studied how people make decisions under uncertainty. And what he found is that the longer someone goes without something they value, the more selective they become about how they pursue it. They don't lower their standards, they raise them. Because scarcity teaches you that bad choices cost more when you've already been without for so long. Here's what that looks like in practice. A woman who hasn't been intimate in a long time isn't sitting around waiting for the first man who shows interest. She's watching. She's testing. She's looking for proof that you're worth the vulnerability it takes to let someone in. And the behaviors she exhibits? They're not random. They're protective mechanisms designed to filter out men who aren't serious, aren't safe, or aren't capable of meeting her on the level she needs. So let's break down what those behaviors actually are. The first thing she does, she tests your patience over and over again. She'll pull back just when things seem to be moving forward. She'll go quiet for days without explanation. She'll send mixed signals, warm one moment, distant the next. And if you don't understand what's happening, you'll think she's not interested. But here's what's actually going on. She's not playing games, she's filtering. Machiavelli wrote about the importance of testing loyalty before granting trust. He said a prince should never assume someone's allegiance until they've proven it under pressure. And women who've been without intimacy for a long time, they've internalized that lesson. She's watching to see if you'll stay when she's not giving you constant validation. She's checking if you'll respect her pace or if you'll try to rush her. She's testing whether you're patient enough to be her time. Because here's what she knows. Men who are only interested in the physical will leave the moment things slow down. They won't wait. They won't put in the effort. And she's counting on that. She wants them to leave because they're not who she's looking for. Jean-Jacques Rousseau talked about this in terms of the social contract. He said that real connection requires mutual commitment, and commitment can't be proven through words. It has to be proven through consistency over time. So if you're dealing with a woman who keeps testing your patience, understand this. She's not being difficult. She's being strategic. And the question is, are you patient enough to pass the test? The second thing she does? She watches you more than she talks to you. You'll notice she's quieter in conversations. She asks questions, but she doesn't volunteer much about herself. She listens carefully. She remembers details, and she's constantly analyzing whether what you say matches what you do. This isn't shyness, this is reconnaissance. Polybius, the Greek historian, documented how the best military leaders never rushed into battle. They observed, they studied the terrain, the enemy's movements, the patterns, and only when they had enough information did they commit. A woman who hasn't been intimate in a long time is doing the exact same thing. She's gathering data. She's watching how you treat other people, how you handle frustration, how you respond when you don't get what you want. She's looking for inconsistencies, red flags, anything that suggests you're not who you're presenting yourself to be. And here's the key. She's not just listening to your words. She's watching your behavior, because she's learned, probably through painful experience, that words are easy. Behavior is truth. Max Weber called this rational observation. He said that people who've been burned before develop a heightened ability to assess risk. They become experts at reading between the lines, and that's exactly what she's doing. So if you feel like she's studying you, you're right, she is. And the best thing you can do is be genuine, because she'll spot pretense from a mile away. The third behavior? She keeps emotional distance, even when she's physically present. You'll have conversations with her, maybe even deep ones, but there's a wall. You can feel it. She'll share certain things, but never everything. She'll laugh, but she won't fully let her guard down. And it can feel like you're almost there, but not quite. This isn't coldness, this is self-protection. Montesquieu wrote about the separation of powers, the idea that no single entity should have complete control. And women who've been without intimacy for a long time apply that same principle to relationships. They don't give all of themselves at once. They portion it out, test by test, layer by layer. Why? Because she's been vulnerable before, and it didn't go well. Maybe she was betrayed. Maybe she was used. Maybe she gave too much too soon and ended up empty. So now she's learned. She keeps emotional reserves. Thomas Hobbes would call this a defense mechanism in the state of nature. When you can't be sure who's friend or foe, you protect yourself by limiting exposure. You engage, but you don't surrender. And here's what this means for you. If you feel like she's emotionally distant, understand that it's not personal. It's not about you. It's about what she's survived. And the only way through it is to show her, consistently, patiently, that you're safe. You don't break down walls by force. You earn the key by proving you won't misuse it. The fourth thing she does? She becomes incredibly sensitive to your intentions. She's not just asking herself if she likes you. She's asking, why are you here? What do you actually want from me? Are you interested in me, or are you interested in what I can give you? And she's looking for proof, constantly. Machiavelli studied this in political alliances. He said the most dangerous mistake a ruler can make is to trust someone's stated intentions without examining their actions, and women who've been without intimacy for a long time have internalized that wisdom. She's watching to see if you're still around when she's not giving you anything, when she's tired, when she's not dressed up, when she's not performing, because that's when your real intentions show. Carl Schmitt, the political theorist, talked about the concept of friend versus enemy. He said that in any relationship, there's a question of whether someone is with you or against you. And for a woman who's been without intimacy for a long time, there's a third category, people who are using you. She's been in that third category before, and she's not going back. So she tests, not maliciously, but deliberately. She'll see if you're still interested when she says no, if you're still respectful when she sets a boundary, if you're still present when there's no immediate reward. Because the men who are only there for the physical, they disappear the moment it's clear it's not happening on their timeline. And that's exactly what she's counting on. The fifth and final behavior? She doesn't believe your words. She waits for your actions. You can tell her you're different. You can say you respect her. You can promise you'll be patient. And she'll nod. She might even smile. But she won't believe you. Not yet. John Locke wrote about the social contract, the idea that trust is built through repeated, consistent action over time. And women who've been without intimacy for a long time understand this instinctively. She's heard promises before, and they were broken. So now she doesn't listen to what you say. She watches what you do. And she waits, for weeks, sometimes months, to see if your behavior matches your words. Livy, the Roman historian, documented how trust was earned in ancient Rome, not through declarations, through demonstrated loyalty, through showing up, through staying consistent when it was inconvenient. And that's exactly what she's looking for. If you say you'll call, you call. If you say you'll show up, you show up. If you say you're patient, you prove it by being patient, not by saying it again. Because here's the truth. She doesn't need another man who talks a good game. She needs someone who actually follows through. And the only way to prove that is through time and consistency. Rousseau said that real relationships are built on mutual commitment. And commitment isn't a feeling, it's a pattern of behavior sustained over time. So if you want her to trust you, stop talking, start proving. So let me bring this together. When a woman hasn't been intimate in a long time, she doesn't become desperate, she becomes discerning. She tests your patience. She observes more than she engages. She keeps emotional distance. She's hyper-aware of your intentions. And she requires proof, not promises. And all of that, it's not manipulation, it's survival. She's learned that intimacy without trust is hollow, that physical connection without emotional safety is just another way to feel alone. So she waits, she filters, she protects herself. And if you're the kind of man who can understand that, who can be patient, consistent, and genuine, then you're exactly who she's been waiting for. But if you're not willing to put in that time, that's okay too, because she'd rather be alone than settle for someone who doesn't see her value. That's the psychology. That's the truth. If this gave you clarity, if you finally understand what you've been seeing but couldn't name, then hit that like button. Share this with a man who needs to hear it, someone who's been frustrated, confused, or on the verge of giving up on someone worth the wait. And subscribe, because the next video breaks down the exact signals a woman sends when she's ready to let you in and how to recognize them before the moment passes. Don't miss it.